All right, so this is episode 3 of my father passing away. And at this point, we've gone through the transition from being in the hospital to now being home to now planning the funeral services and so forth. And mom, mom seemed pretty okay. I mean, I'm sitting here now. It's been, gosh, I have to look, but it's been like 15 years. And, she had always, that's what I was saying, she'd always been seemingly very independent. She traveled to Europe. She worked in New York City for a while. She was very involved with volunteer work, an international house. She was very, very, um, gosh, why am I struggling? It's not just independent. She was very assertive. She was an artist. She was very artistic. And she lived a very full life beyond motherhood. And I think I learned a lot more about that too. You think, oh, mommy, this and that. You think, oh, she's my mom. But she was much more than that. And but dad, did all the money making work. And that's kind of what the tradition was. But anyway, I remember mom said that she was going to fix her little house up. This would be her little jewel. I remember those words. This will be my little jewel. And she was, trying to be optimistic about it. And, she was going to fix up her house the way she wanted it. And that was great. And she was very artistic there. And another thing I did was did a whole survey of the house, taking pictures, and put that to music, which, again, going back to YouTube, that was what I did. I've always been the photographer guy that did that and put it to music and tried to make something out of it. So I'm glad I did that because, as time passed and she passed away, um, that house had to be completely evacuated and then it was torn down. It was one of these knockdown houses. So everything that they had built together was eventually just gone. And so I'm glad I preserved the memories with the pictures and the furnishings that Linda pretty much took home. And that's great to see too, that she still has, I don't know the right words, but armoires, whatever, chest of drawers, different things that mom had, that they had, that now Linda has, to keep that sense of family and tradition still with you. It's still there. Um, okay, so now mom is going to be on her own, but Linda's there, and that's great. Because Peter, oh, he's going back to South Carolina. I'm going back down to South Carolina. And, that's fine and dandy. I mean, that's what I had chosen to do, and married a beautiful girl and had a beautiful family. But, I never abandoned my own family. I just put a distance between us. And I feel like we were a lot closer for that, because of that. Absence does make the heart grow fonder. So, but I had to get back. I had to get back to work and so forth, and back to Tess, back to the family. And I'll say this, coming back home and coming back into I'll just say, the kind of the chaos of our family life at that time. It wasn't any more chaotic than anybody's family, but it just felt like I had been through all this with my dad and my mom, my sister, and the hugging, and we love each other, and my cousin. All this, that side of the family was all around me. And, my family from here didn't come up to be with me there. And that was, I mean, it was a choice. It wasn't a big debate or anything. I mean, this is my father, and this is what we're doing. But when I came back home here, I was like, wow. And I felt a little bit like a stranger here. And that was a very odd feeling. And my daughter was always very sensitive to these things and very loving. I think Tess, I'm not quite sure. I really don't know. But sometimes I think Tess was always afraid I might take off and go back to New Jersey. I don't know if that's true, but I think there was a little bit of that, you know. And so, you know, she was kind of more upset that I was gone and like, okay, you've been gone this long. You need to come home. You need to be back home. Well, okay, great. But in the meantime, I'm taking care of my mom and dad and my sister. And I went through that again with my mom when she passed. So, um, this is what it's like, you know. You're suddenly single. You're suddenly the surviving son. You're suddenly the man of the house, you know. You're suddenly an adult. And it's a big deal. And it may be the most obvious damn thing you can say. Obviously, you're an adult, but there's something about when you lose a parent that you realize you're the adult now. There's no old man you can point at anymore. You're it. You're the old man now. And so, yeah, I can get a little emotional about it. That's another weird thing, and that's part of why I'm doing this too. You can think things to death. You can, and I really don't think about it that much. But thinking and saying are two different things. And when you say something out loud, it triggers something in your emotional, physical being. And I feel good about it though. That's the other thing I kind of want to stress here. I have had plenty of little crying bouts or whatever. I'm not ashamed to say it, but it's not like I fall into this huge depression. Oh my God, it's not like that at all. It, it's it's a release, and it's a release that allows you then to kind of move on with a little bit deeper, a little bit greater insight into things, and also you just feel relieved. You let it out. I'm saying you when I mean me, and I well yes I did go to counseling, the hospice counseling when my mom passed. We'll get into that in other times. But for my dad, I just basically came home and went back to work. And that's what you do. That's what I did. And so, anyway, if you've lost a parent, lost a father, are you thinking about it, dealing with it? Could you take on that role? Do you find yourself like that commercial, turning into your parents? It's a funny commercial. Those are the funniest things. But yeah, it's a lot of truth. But I did. I turned into a very workaholic kind of person. Um, I, very frugal. I'm doing now even much more. Like, turn out the lights, close the door. What are you leaving the refrigerator door open? All these things that they would yell at you about. And now I'm doing it to myself. I mean, now I'm keeping the lights off. I'm keeping the heat down. I'm turning the lights off when I leave the room. Just normal things, but being frugal about it. Because why not? Especially now being by myself. Why not? I don't need to keep everything on for what? There's no other person, and I'm not spooked in the dark. So it's been pretty liberating that way. But I guess my point of there is, you learn stuff from your parents whether you knew it or not, and whether you rebelled against it or not. I rebelled against my dad day and night, night and day, for no damn good reason. But just the way it is with generations, and the way our generations were. We weren't buddies. You're the parent, I'm the kid. But that doesn't mean we didn't love each other. But it's a big loss. It's a big loss, and yet I think, like everything else I've learned here, part of this has been the process of getting ready to move on to not move on in that respect, but to live on without them being there, without them being here anymore. You can live on by you've incorporated them into your life in such a way that you can honor them and also um, be independent from them at this, from this day forward. And I think that's an important step. I think um, I know I've done it with the help of other people around me, and I can't do it alone, but I mean, I can be alone. I can be alone because I think I've incorporated these good people into who I am. And I thank God for all that. And that's the end of that 10-minute segment. So we'll see you later, alligator. Bye bye.